Let's get you the latest coming in from The Hague. The hearing in Kulbhushan Jadhav case has just about ended. The latest that we're getting in is that the ICJ chair addressed the court saying that the International Court of Justice will render its order as soon as possible. The date will be duly communicated to the parties. So there is no date as to when the order will come in. Pakistan concluded its arguments in less than 1 hour. That is after a big snub came in from the International Court of Justice, where they refused for Pakistan to play what they deemed was the confessional video of Kulbhushan Jadhav. Now, earlier, the ICJ, like we pointed out, declined Pakistan's plea to play that video of Jadhav's confession, what they believed were his confession. On the other front, Pakistan's legal delegation there, point by point, tried to give reason for why Islamabad is not violating the Vienna Convention. All right, I want to immediately cut across to our executive editor, Gaurav Sawant, who's joining us from The Hague. We'll also get in a word from my colleague Hamza, who's picking up the reaction back in Pakistan. Let's remind our viewers, both countries keenly watching the developments at Hague. Gaurav, it's over to you. Interesting there, big blow in the beginning itself, where the chair, the ICJ chair, refusing to watch what Pakistan deemed was the confessional video of Jadhav.
A huge setback to Pakistan as the International Court of Justice refused to see the 6-minute so-called confessional tape that Pakistan wanted to air. Now, legal jurisprudence, from what we've been told, taped evidence, unless it is backed by corroborative evidence, is not acceptable in a court of law. So a sham trial may be acceptable in Pakistan, but not at the International Court of Justice. Pakistan repeatedly tried to broadcast that tape. Twice they attempted, both times the International Court of Justice shot it down, so much so that Pakistan's counsel made a mention of it, that they wanted to show just a 6-minute clip, which the judges said was not required. So that was point one. That was the first blow to Pakistan. Second, Pakistan still did not come up with any evidence whatsoever on what was Kulbhushan Jadhav's role, what was the evidence against him, what kind of trial was held in Pakistan. All it went on to say was that India is saying that irreparable loss would happen if there is no immediate verdict, but there is no threat of an irreparable loss immediately. So Pakistan said, not in the next 1 or 2 days, not in the next 1 or 2 weeks or 1 or 2 months, as was the case in 3 other instances that had been cited, Preeti. India, of course, had said that it could happen in the next 6 months, and that is why urgent intervention is required. So India has sought urgent intervention of the International Court of Justice. Behind me, Pakistan saying, 1, they have no jurisdiction, and 2, there should be no intervention. Now it's for Judge Abram and the 10 brother judges to take a decision, which he said will be announced in an open court, but no date given just as yet, Preeti.
Gaurav, on the second front, where the Pakistan legal team went on to point out that there was no breach of the Vienna Convention, on what grounds did they put that point across?
So they claim that there was no breach of the Vienna Convention in terms of a bilateral agreement of 2008 between India and Pakistan on seeking consular access of citizens of the two countries. But India's point they could not counter. India repeatedly made the point that as per the Vienna Convention of getting consular access to citizens who've been held in custody in the other country, it should be given. Now Pakistan says it will, that is what is Pakistan's claim. They're saying it will be given, but it's a conditional access that Pakistan is talking about. So what is that conditional access that Pakistan is talking about? That first India needs to accept that he's a spy, and then access will be given. But India is not accepting. India says, first let us meet the man, let us interact with the man, let us know the circumstances, and then we'll take it there. But that is where there is a different interpretation of what India is saying and what Pakistan is saying. So now it remains to be seen what the judges decide.
Gaurav, very quickly, just go to Hamza after that. What was the crucible on which the Pakistan's argument was built on today, if you have to encapsulate it?
So Pakistan's basic grounds was, 1, there is no emergency. India's grounds were that unless the court meets and decides immediately, there is an intense apprehension that Kulbhushan Jadhav could be hanged. And the President of the International Court of Justice, when India made this application on the 8th, he gave a stay on the 9th, agreed for a hearing on the 15th on grounds hanging, God forbid, could be imminent. Now, Pakistan is claiming that there is nothing to suggest that hanging is imminent. Pakistan claims that Kulbhushan Jadhav or India, they have, the grounds that then first, for a period of 45 days, approach the army chief, the courts, and then the president of Pakistan for a period of 90 days and seek clemency. But seeking clemency would mean admission of guilt in the first place. And here, in a saying that on what grounds do we say should we admit guilt when we don't even know what our man is in jail for? We haven't even met him. So Pakistan is denying access to Kulbhushan Jadhav on grounds that India needs to first accept that he's a spy, then he will be given access. India on the other hand says, give us access, let us know details, give us papers, give us documents, and then we will respond. Preeti.
All right, Gaurav, coming back to you in just about a minute, let me cut across to Hamza, who's been picking up reactions in Islamabad on the back of the arguments made by Pakistan. Hamza, what are you picking up? Because, a big blow, that confessional video doesn't stand in the International Court of Justice.
Well, as per my information and going through the details of the speech that was given by the Pakistani counterpart, Khawar Qureshi, it seems that that video was not aired inside the court, but yes, it was actually handed over to the jury to see, because he says that they have seen the video. So that is one contention. But on Pakistan in Islamabad, Pakistan is actually saying that it's come up with a very, very strong response, as they are calling it, on the fact that the Vienna Convention is outrightly gone out of the window, while on the other hand, we're calling for speedy trial and even quoting the International Court of Justice, as Pakistan calls it, was never there of orders from the court for staying the death penalty of Kulbhushan Jadhav were actually addressed, and they were actually quoted in the name of ICJ, was something that actually identifies the intentions behind this. So he says that Islamabad, over here, people are saying, and even the leaders and experts are saying that this is something that was not required, as Pakistan has made it very clear, and probably that is the reason why the court has said that they'll come out with the final verdict into the case after hearing both the sides, that it is not actually under jurisdiction of the ICJ to actually hear a case not only on the basis of Vienna Convention that is outrightly negated by Pakistan, but also on the basis that both countries are actually are part of Commonwealth countries, and that is why these cases cannot be heard. Similarly, what happened with India when Pakistan actually contested a case against them in the ICJ back.
All right, Hamza, stay on with me. Gaurav, if you're still with us, the issue of where the video is concerned is becoming contentious. What are you picking up? Is it admissible in the International Court of Justice?
No, Preeti. From what we've been told by our sources, unverified video is not admissible as evidence in legal circles. We spoke to, one of the officials here as to why Pakistan's video was not permitted, and he said they will have to wait and listen to the judge and then come back to us officially. So a statement on that will be given out in a short while from now. But video evidence, electronic evidence, unless it's corroborated by other evidence, is not, admissible as evidence in a court of law. That is legal jurisprudence. But I will be speaking to Harish Salve in a moment, and I will get those details from him as to what Pakistan's defense was and why it doesn't hold ground. As far as the Commonwealth is concerned, in the case of Atlantic, and I had covered that case, Preeti, when the Indian Air Force had shot down a Pakistan Navy aircraft, maritime reconnaissance aircraft that had come into Indian airspace in Nalia in August 1999, and that time Soli Sorabji had argued that territorial issues and Commonwealth issues are not a property or cannot be taken up in the International Court of Justice. But this is neither about territory nor this is about Commonwealth. This is about Vienna Convention not being followed, and as far as not following the Vienna Convention is concerned, Preeti, International Court of Justice theory has a role here.
It's also about human rights violation, Gaurav, is what you and I were discussing. We'll give you that moment there, Gaurav, to get in a clarification from the Indian legal counterpart, Harish Salve, whether or not that video can be admissible on what Pakistan says is a confessional video, which can be admissible in the International Court of Justice. Let's remind our viewers that the ICJ had refused for Pakistan to play that video in court today. We'll get a clarification on that. Hamza, let me bring you in. Hamza, okay, so no date has been given yet on, the date of the judgment will be duly communicated to both countries. The question is, what are you picking up from your government sources on that account? Now, whatever the judgment is, will Pakistan accept it? Because it's only morally binding.
Well, yes, because Pakistan has now actually presented itself before the court. And initially, it was expected and it was actually being talked about that Pakistan even might not be present in the ICJ, but now it is. So whatever judgment comes out, it is actually going to be acceptable. It has to be accepted. But yes, obviously there are always options of reviewing a decision that's come in place now. As per Pakistan's understanding, and even the talk in town in Islamabad is basically the fact that the case will have to be dismissed as per demand of Pakistan's representative in the ICJ on very logical grounds, as they claim that because Kulbhushan Jadhav was carrying a passport with a Pakistani and Muslim name, and that actually was shown on the screens inside the court as well. And so that is something. And also, the case of the Vienna Convention, because it was addressed repeatedly by the Pakistani representative, and point by point he was referring to articles from the same the constitution of the law and the law and justice system of the ICJ, that these pointers were not addressed, and that is why that is not going to be applicable. So I think, but Pakistan is expecting that this is going to be outrightly rejected and dismissed by the ICJ, and that is why Pakistan is in celebration mode right now.
All right, so that's a little bizarre, Ramza. Pakistan already in celebration mode because they think they have the case down pat. What we're going to do, Hamza, right now is dip in to various voices coming in. Let's hear Mr. Qureshi, the legal counsel of Pakistan.
It's not acceptable to invoke the jurisdiction of this court on the basis of imminence, any day, about to be committed, and then come to the court and say, it may be 6 months, that's enough for you. Because when one looks at the cases themselves, the 3 death sentences cases, they all relate to the use of capital punishment in the United States of America. It's simply inaccurate, if not, with respect, misleading, to suggest that the government of Pakistan and its officials had attached conditionality. What they had said, and again, this is in the annexes before the court, Annex 3, the letter of the 21st of March 2017, before judgment was handed down on the 10th of April 2017, is that the consular access request would be considered in light of the response to the mutual legal assistance request so as to enable early dispensation of justice, so that the evidence could be provided to enable the legal process to take its course in Pakistan. The chronology is as follows. Commander Jadhav was arrested in the southern province of Pakistan, Balochistan, which is mineral rich and unfortunately has seen violence all too often. He crossed in from Iran, bearing that false passport. The position, so far as the video is concerned, is that that video was aired. That was a confession video aired on the 25th of March 2016. So it's plainly incorrect if it's being suggested that that video was obtained after consular access was sought, because the chronology simply doesn't bear it out.
All right, so this was the argument put forth by the legal representative of Pakistan. But what we're going to do right now, we're going to cut across to what India's legal representative, Harish Salve, who was spearheading India's campaign at the top UN court, what he said today in the morning.
India in its relief seeks restitutio in integrum, which would, in the least, finally, require annulment of the verdict. In the circumstances, I submit that India has a strong case for provisional measures as an indication that the death sentence be not executed until such time as the court has adjudicated India's applications. Throughout the period of his incarceration in Pakistan and in the course of his trial, Jadhav has been denied consular access. India seeks restitution by way of annulment of the verdict in addition to other reliefs. The need for consular access and the opportunity to arrange for legal representation in the course of the trial as covenanted in the Vienna Convention, is all the more greater. It is imperative that to prevent irreparable prejudice being caused to India and Jadhav, provisional measures would need to be indicated by the court.
All right, we're going to continue to track this story. My colleague Gaurav Sawant getting us the latest from The Hague.